Hi guys, this is SolarWinds TV for TWACamp, and look what I have, an amazing SolarWinds logo, which is made by someone very special. Today we talk about how life is full of ongoing repetition in IT. And most of those repetition is just mundane tasks. It's the same stuff all over again. And the only task worth repeating is raising a glass of wine when the job's done. So today we want to show you one or two things, how you get a little bit more out of your day and you can focus on stuff that's really important to you and to business instead of doing password resets all the time. We will show you how two products work together, and I'm not just on my own because I couldn't do this. I have an absolute product expert with me, and here comes Michael.
Thank you, Sasha, and hi, TWACamp. My name is Michael Clark. I'm a solutions engineer for the SolarWinds Service Desk, and every day I concentrate on helping clients and customers get the most value out of the SolarWinds Service Desk tool.
Okay, so what we have here is something that looks familiar to many of you. It is this hybrid cloud observability. It's a small system in my lab, and what I'm going to do now is to link this system to our SWSD solution, the SolarWinds Service Desk. Okay, so I go to Settings and Manage Alert Integration Instance, and there's nothing to see here. I click Service Desk, and now I need a little bit of data. So let me try to jump into Service Desk, which is what's shown up on the screen now, and left-hand side Setup, and we go to Integrations. Here it's still called Orion. Yes, we're going to work on this. Bit empty, top right corner, we can add an instance. I call it HCO, and I request it with my own name. This is fine. Again, top right corner, create. Okay, I click this, and I will have my fancy token. So I copy this, I go back to my browser tab, call this one SWSD, which is the SolarWinds Service Desk again. Let's hope for the best. Testing, yes, that's looking good. Okay, so I save it. That was actually pretty easy, wasn't it? So now we connected the hybrid cloud observability with SolarWinds Service Desk. And what we're going to do next is to play with an alert. Okay, so again, this is a pretty simple system here in my own lab. Let's look for a very simple alert. Note down, duplicate, edit. In case you're not aware, the alerts that ship with the product are just templates, so we make it our own. We call this, what do we call this? Panic. Okay, so interesting here is now the trigger actions. There's a couple of actions already in the template, but we don't want an email today. We want something else. We want to create a SolarWinds Service Desk incident. That's this dude here. So pretty simple. I scroll down a little bit, configure action, and here we can enter information like note down, whatever. There's loads of information that's being shipped with the alert to SolarWinds Service Desk. So everything here is out of the box. It comes with some attributes, and we can always add more information here. So we can use the variables from inside hybrid cloud observability, or even if you're on an older Orion system, that is perfectly fine. You can add any data, whatever you prefer, whatever's important for the business. But I want to keep things really simple, and I just click Add Action. Okay, my alert is almost done. I need to confirm twice. Yeah, another email reset action. I'm ignoring this now. I submitted. One important thing, when we create an alert, it is disabled. So we need to enable it. Okay, never forget to enable things. Okay, let me switch browser tab again. And now I do something fun. I'm going to destroy something. So I'm selecting one of my switches and go into the port manager, and I'm stealing my access point, which is somewhere here over my head. So access point, it should be disabled. Did I disable this? Yes, I did disable this. What's going to happen now in the background is that the system will wait for the information to be picked up. This will take a little bit because this is just a lab and is not a priority device for me. So we will stop the recording for a moment and go fast forward, like bing! Here in my example, we see panic. So my node is down, my access point is gone. So we now move on to the service desk.
So the ticket from that alert has come into the service desk. We can see that our ticket panic is in here. So this could be a critical piece of infrastructure that we really need to get some eyeballs on it pretty quick. If you notice, the default priority that's coming in is low. So now the next step would be to create an automation rule to bump that priority up, get that over to the escalation team to take a look at that. So we'll do that now. We'll click into setup. We'll go into the service desk and automation rules. And then we'll click the plus sign here in the top right, create our rule. We're going to call this critical down. And that's our device. So we're looking for an object created of a ticket. We're going to add a condition. We're going to add a keyword condition, and it's going to look for the keyword for that device. Once we add that condition, now we want to perform an action on it. One of the first things I want to do is add a tag. So the tag that we'll use will be HCO outage. And we'll come back to that tag and see what we can do with that tag here a little bit later. Then we're going to update the record. So we want to update the priority. We want to bump that priority to critical. We also want to get it over to the appropriate assignment team. So we'll do assignee. We'll send that to the escalation team. We'll go ahead and categorize it as well. Hardware. And we'll just leave it at that category.
One question, Michael.
Yeah.
The priority is critical, the best we can do. What about world is coming down?
Well, you're unable to add that priority, but we can definitely add that in the note that we're going to create, or the notification.
I would love that.
Awesome. So now we're going to send a notification. We're going to send this to the escalation team. And you know what? I want to let Sasha know also that he's got a critical piece of infrastructure that is being tracked.
And while Michael is working on that, just a small explanation, as you might wonder, why do we do this here, as we can do a lot of this actually in hybrid cloud observability. But keep in mind, it's not necessarily the same team, and those teams might have different priorities. Now, this is an access point, and the access point here no longer working for me. At home, my girlfriend will probably complain very soon, so it's a crisis. But keep in mind, it could be a printer, and someone who is an infrastructure engineer wouldn't be necessarily interested in a printer. But if you work service desk, this is very important. The printers are the arch enemies of the engineers. But anyway, we could go on with our ticket here.
So we've created that automation rule to look for that keyword. And now we'll check to make sure that that automation is working. Let's turn it on and maybe turn it back off again, and let's generate another ticket and check our behavior.
Okay, on my end here, which we see, I will turn on the pod again, apply the change. And again, it will take a little bit of time for the system to pick it up. So we could potentially go for another magic bing. Okay, so I did turn it on and off again. No, actually I turned it off and on again. Whatever. I changed the conditions a few times and there's a new alert triggered. And from looking at your screen, it looks good.
It does. It does. So we have the behavior that we set up in the automation rule. It's been assigned to the IT escalation team. It's categorized. It's got the priority of critical. And then it's added this tag that I'll be able to show you in the dashboard how we can leverage that tag to do some reporting for at-a-glance view of what's happening in the organization. So, Sasha, I have this ticket that's open. And is there a way that we can automate closing the ticket once the alert is resolved?
So yes, Michael, absolutely. Have a look at my the alert, which I used. Okay, so here's my note down. And as you remember, the action was send a notification or open a ticket to SolarWinds Service Desk. Then the very next step here on my screen is the reset actions. And the reset actions are still sending an email because that's what I used my alert on. And I could just go again, create Service Desk incident. Now, we're obviously not going to create it, but we can use the same technology here to just update a ticket. It's a little bit of tinkering around, so I'm not going to do this in my example, but it would definitely be possible. And it really depends on the organization. If you just want to shoot a quick update, hey, the device is working already, or if you go fully automated, you could have the system close the ticket if you prefer, but that really depends on the organization.
So let's take a look at the dashboard and see how we can leverage this at-a-glance view of what's going on in the environment. That way we don't have to live in the incident section of the service desk all the time. So we have our notifications that come to us. We can also set up a widget to identify those tickets that are open for that particular tag. I'm going to come up here and add a widget. I'm going to just do a blank widget. But we do have 90 plus widgets that cover everything from SLAs, statistics, computers, assets, daily work. I'm going to choose a blank widget right now. We're going to call this our HCO outage. And I'm going to add a filter. And I want to filter on the tag where it equals our HCO outage. We'll create that. And then this will give us a widget of those tickets. I think I have another tag also for critical. So let me add that as well.
I like how the panic is resolved.
It is. So right now it's showing us that the tickets that we have open for HCO outage or critical, they're all resolved. I could add another filter just to show open tickets only, but this way you can see what this would look like. Now, once I've created this view, this is a custom view, so I'm just going to save the changes, and that way this widget is available every time I log in.
So there's an idea, Michael. As when I opened the alert condition on my site, I showed the elements where we could forward variables, like any kind of variables. Actually, in the observability world, we might call them custom properties. So it's like those yellow things which we put on our monitors, you know. What can we do with those properties in a SolarWinds Service Desk, as it should be a really strong feature to automate things, to put things into the right corner? What options do we have for this?
Well, we can definitely add different actions. One of the actions that we used in our earlier example is updating the ticket. So we updated the assignee and the category, but we could also look for those custom properties and update other fields within the ticket. Maybe we create those custom fields within the service desk and populate that information with the custom properties created in HCO.
Okay, so we could use it for further filtering and making sure that the ticket gets priority handling, which we basically did in the example you showed this to us. So it's pretty cool. So bottom line, actually, we just used a very, very simple example, and it could be anything else. We used my access point. We could use something that is really, really critical. But we are not limited in regards to automation to the scenario that we use today. We're just running out of time. We can also automate business processes. We can use a little bit of machine learning and AI. Maybe, Michael, if we have like 30 more seconds, can we have a look at the chat agent or something like that?
Absolutely, Sasha. And we're really excited about our new virtual agent, which allows us to automate a lot of those processes. Now, right now, what you're seeing is the standard chat that's available in the service desk. But if we go back to our platform and then we go to setup, global settings in the service portal, we scroll all the way down to the bottom, we're going to see these toggles for our virtual agent. We're able to go ahead and enable that, and that allows us to get the chatbot available for our end users. So let's take a look at what that looks like in the portal. I'm going to go back to the portal view. And now you can see that that standard chat has turned into a virtual agent. As I click into this is going to automate some of those first level triage tasks and help guide our users into either creating a new ticket or searching the knowledge base or requesting a new service. We can also show the open tickets or any open task, or maybe even assign tickets if I'm an agent in the system. We're also using that natural language processing. You know, there's a lot of hubbub with ChatGPT, and we're using that same technology of natural language processing for our internal AI. What do you think about that?
Now that makes me thinking. If I look at your screen, I see human resources and there's the chat box. Could I request a pay rise using the bot?
Well, we can definitely try. We can just hit request new service. We tell the chatbot what we want. I would like a raise. Now, our chatbot is basically going to get smarter over time. It's not going to recognize these keywords that I've typed in for a raise, but it does allow me to go ahead and search through the service catalog and look for those types of services and see if I've got something. Look at this. I have a salary adjustment. I'm going to submit.
I love it. Maybe I prefer to use the chatbot than talking to my manager, but that's a different story.
It has taken us into another area. There we go. So now this is my salary adjustment service catalog. I'm just going to say the employee's mean, the reason, cost of living. Let's just say raise. New salary amount.
20K.
100K.
100K, even better.
Now I'm going to submit request. And that's just one example of how we can streamline the request from our users, point them in the right direction to get the resources they need. What do you think about that, Sasha?
That is awesome. I'm waiting for the 100K now.
I as well. That's also on the back end. We can also have approvals set up to automate that process to send that over to the appropriate manager, finance manager, or even the HR team.
Okay, so we shared a couple of things with you, even the pay rise, which is amazing. Thanks for watching, and use the chat, use the comments, whatever, if you have any other questions and need more information. Michael, we are done, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Thanks so much, Sasha.